Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme Issue 1. And I enjoyed this as an Issue 1. It did a really great job of introducing us to the status quo of Doctor Strange and kind of getting us into tidbits of where we're going with the hospital arc and then what's going on in Doctor Strange's more mystical goings ons. So we see that he's starting off. We see that a patient has a very aggressive form of cancer, and that he's kind of confused of why they would recommend him to Doctor Strange. And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm just going to cut it out and everything." And he kind of explodes like, "They said it was inoperable and everything." He's like, "Well, I'm the best they got, and I'm coming in for this." And we then see him doing the surgery, and him talking about what's going on. He's worked with the hospital to be called in on the operations that no one else will take. And when he goes to do these operations, he doesn't use magic or anything at all because he doesn't know who the price will be extracted from when the magic's used. It could be Strange, it could be the patient. And I really kind of like that. And seeing him getting into the nitty gritty of that and just doing it old school style of not using magic or anything whatsoever like that. It's like, oh, okay, this will be kind of intriguing. And we see that in order to kind of compensate for doing and juggling these two very important responsibilities, he tried to do a 30-hour day spell. Doesn't exist. He thought about connecting the sanctum to the hospital. He's like, well, if something would spill over from his sanctum, that would be pretty bad. So he's pretty much just trying to deal with everything as he can, saying that it's exhilarating doing the surgery, but it's also very draining as he has his cloak kind of wrap him up and kind of have him kind of rest a little bit as we get more of his usual kind of origin up to speed, and then getting into, okay, he got his hands back and he's waiting for that kind of price to come into effect and seeing what he's going to have to pay for getting his hands back. And we see that he goes back in. He's got to deal with all the paperwork of being a surgeon and everything. He's got an assistant named Kermit, and he's allowed one cape question a day where he's like, "Hey, you ever date the Enchantress?" And he's like, "Nope." And he's like, "Have you ever thought about it?" He's like, "That's two, only one a day." And Hagen, the administrator, wants to see him in his office because it's been brought to her attention that from one of the doctors, Bellamy, that Strange hasn't been following the procedures usually set by the hospital. Now, granted, Strange is usually kind of loose with certain things, but he would never intentionally do something that's so outrageously dangerous. I love how he talks about the dude is like he couldn't really perform surgery on an orange with a chainsaw. He's like a butcher. That he didn't like me when I was a doctor and practicing medicine, and it's only kind of calcified as I've been out of it for so long. And we see that Strange's office is in disarray. Hagen's like, how do you kind of deal with this? Is like he's got his system that he does, and he offers her tissue before she even sneezes because he can see that she's coming down with a cold. Because in the beginning, we've seen that Strange is able to see all the different kind of entities around the hospital, even commenting that if he worked here every day, his heart would shatter because of everything that he sees. But after Hagen's pretty much like, okay, well, I'm also here to tell you that we're getting a new administrator, Ludgate, Anthony Ludgate. And he's like, wait a minute, that dude's dead. But before they can delve into that further, he's like, okay, someone that Strange knows that should be dead is becoming the new dean of the hospital. That sounds like it's going to be interesting, but before they can really delve into it, Code Blue happens and they're inundated with wounded people and everything. And before Strange can, he's like really neck deep into it before he's even pretty much to the point of exhaustion. Be like, what's happening out there? It's like bedlam, chaos, and everything. Then we see him in his old school Doctor Strange outfit. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm glad that we're going back with that. And I like the art style because it really lends gravitas to the mystical elements that we saw in the hospital, but also when we see him like going through this kind of almost war zone of what's going on because they don't know what's going on. The people that they rescue haven't been in the state to be able to say what's been going on. Strangers running through the list. It's like not terrorism. It's not anything that's like an earthquake or whatnot. He's helping people. He sees that one couple or one group of people was done in by sorcery. He's like, what the hell? He finds a child and finds that their father has been flayed and that's like, oh, so he pretty much puts her to sleep to like kind of get her under control and be like, she needs to be in the trauma ward, Jesus. And then he gets shellacked by, who would it be? The Wrecker. And he's got an enchanted crowbar. It's like, oh god, because Strange is like, all right, I gotta handle this. This isn't good. But as he's trying to use his mystical arts to contain him, he finds out that, of course, it's an enchanted crowbar, and he's able to now wreck reality as he, like, I don't know if he breaks Strange's, like, shoulder or whatnot, but it's something around there, and then does something to his leg. He's like, hey, I'm already getting, like, $500,000 for this job, tearing down all these buildings and everything. I don't even need my whole crew. It's like, this is a dangerous kind of wrecker. I was kind of surprised at how nuts he was at this, commenting that it's you calling him a candy ass and everything. That, yeah, you can't take a punch or anything, and it's value added for me pretty much going after you, and that, yeah, I would like to make you suffer, but I'm just pretty much gonna throw you in the river, tied with like a giant thing of concrete and rebar around him. So we end the issue with Doctor Strange pretty much sinking to his doom in the river. It's like, wow, that's not good, and a pretty effective way to kind of set up. It's like, okay, there's stuff that's going to be going on at the hospital. I kind of like that. And somebody has tasked the Wrecker to do all this untold devastation. They could be connected, they could be separate kind of things, but I'm excited to see kind of how the status quo shakes up and where it kind of goes. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.